Welcome to Money Talk Viewpoint, podcast for financial professionals, CPAs, attorneys, wealth managers, and those who service high net worth and the family office. My name is Stuart Cruz. I'm founder of Cruz Asset Management. I'm the author of a new book coming out, Licensed to Steal: How to Turn Wall Street Greed into Your Game. Hopefully it'll be released in the next 3 to 6 months. And those of you not familiar with Cruz Asset Management, we're a boutique asset management firm that specializes in quantitative asset management, and we're a virtual family office. And again, the family office concept is where we bring a team of financial professionals together to act on behalf of our clients. When I was working for the large brokers, the compliance department wouldn't allow us to work together with CPAs or other advisors because they couldn't control the information. But you got to imagine that as a client, it'd be a better experience and better outcomes if you have teams of professionals working together on their behalf, right? Which is why I wanted to have Lindsay Czajka on as a guest, because of all of the areas that we could be talking about in the virtual family office. And I've had a few podcasts now. I've talked to M&A attorneys, I've talked to insurance providers, I've talked to a variety of different professionals. Possibly the most overlooked and yet the most useful would be the marketing side. Because as my dad says, nothing happens until something gets sold. So let me introduce our guest, Lindsay. She graduated from Rutgers University with a degree in communications and media studies. She took her skills to Nordstrom's and held a variety of positions there in marketing for a better part of a decade. And now she's the focal point of Elite Resource Team, ERT, and the partnerships between CPAs and RIAs and helping them execute their online marketing strategy. Lindsay, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you on. Again, my dad was in sales his whole life, and it was I've read a gazillion sales books. I know sales isn't marketing, but the idea is you can be awesome at everything you do, and until somebody discovers who you are, it doesn't really matter. And it's not always the best product, the best service, and in fact, usually it's not the best product or service wins. It's the one who gets their name out the best that wins the race. So before we get into some of these strategies, it seems like quite a leap from Nordstrom's to ERT, where you're working with CPAs and RIAs and the finance. So tell me a little bit about your path.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pretty big jump, actually. But, Nordstrom is obviously like a large Fortune 500 company. I was in charge of a couple of the stores in my region, basically helping with in-store and online promotional marketing. I was there for, as you said, a little under a decade. And, during the pandemic, my ideals kind of shifted about me and who I wanted to help. And, I took the knowledge that I gained from working at Nordstrom for all those years to kind of pivot to a smaller niche of people that I could see the direct result of helping them.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I have several meetings with you coming up with my CPA partners and whatnot. So tell us a little bit more about this very specific role you have at ERT in the virtual family office.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you framed out, ERT is a training company that helps CPAs and financial advisors learn to work together to bring more value to their clients with proactive and holistic planning. So my role has sort of evolved since I began with ERT. It started out by me helping each of the advisors in our community learn how to use a turnkey marketing program that we created called the Elite Marketing Platform. That platform houses a lot of information about our value proposition and what all of the advisors that are involved in our training can bring to the table with proactive planning in the virtual family office. So my initial role was kind of just to help people get onboarded, help them use that platform, help them to use it to the best of their abilities to market their value proposition. And since then, we sort of have evolved my role. We've noticed that advisors probably need a little bit more help than what they were getting with their marketing, especially the ones in our community. It's very often that you see an advisor kind of running the whole ship on their own, or a CPA doing the same. And they don't have a bunch of employees that they can task with doing their marketing or hand it off to somebody. It's a lot of them doing it all on their own, trying to wear a million hats. And that's kind of where you always are going to drop one of those balls. So my role has since evolved to just kind of be a marketing manager for our community in general. So helping to set up some automated campaigns, helping them to really make the most of the tools that we provide for them at ERT through our training videos, through our community, through the Elite Marketing platform, through social media, any kind of those outlets where the advisors need help. I try to jump in and help.
Yeah. I mean, I know most RIAs and CPAs did not get involved in their space to become marketing people. Like that was the
Certainly
first,
not. Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking they were going to be doing. So can you tell us about some of the customized marketing strategies that you've used and some things that have been more successful versus others in your current
Sure.
time?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously being consistent is going to be the number one thing that's going to help you on any kind of like marketing in social media, in life, in email, anything like that. Consistency is always knowing your audience is definitely going to help as well. So understanding who those target clients are and understanding what social media platforms they frequent is always going to help you kind of focus your efforts in the right area. I have seen a lot of success using some kind of like direct to consumer marketing on LinkedIn. So utilizing some softwares, there's a ton of softwares out there that can help you to really like automate your life online and in social media and email. So that has been a pretty successful strategy as of late, is doing that kind of direct to consumer, direct to business marketing on LinkedIn, searching for the people that you're looking at that could be your ideal client or your ideal proactive partner or something similar to that is a great way for you to be able to just have those more casual and real comms versus just kind of shooting out a marketing post and hoping the people that you want to see it are going to see it. So using a lot of that kind of targeted marketing, I would say, is really what's been moving the needle for the people in our community recently.
That's fair. I'm curious about that. A couple of things came up. So I know I must get dozen or maybe two messages on LinkedIn a day that are just like, again, targeted RA space. Hey, this is. So do you think it's being flooded? Do you think it's being saturated right now, or like
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. I do too. I get all those messages on LinkedIn, and it's not very often I'm going to click on one of those bolded sponsored messages that I get from LinkedIn. What I'm referring to is a more organic approach. It is using some automation software that helps it to be a key versus spending half your day trying to connect with people on LinkedIn. But our approach has been a lot more casual and personal. So really starting to ask questions about their business, starting to try and understand what their current issues are with maybe their tax professional, depending on who we're looking for, obviously. If it's a business owner, what are their current gripes with their tax professional? If they have any, are they happy with the amount of taxes that they're paying? Things like that kind of can get answers to the questions that we know that we can help with.
We know that answer is no. Not
exactly.
happy.
No one's ever happy. Exactly. We know that answer is no. But using that kind of more casual approach versus sending a paragraph long message with a link to watch a video, it's gonna encourage people to respond and follow up with you because you're treating them like a person and not just like a number in a list of spreadsheets.
Yeah, that's fair. You also consistency, which is obviously important, and I've heard that for a better part of a decade myself. As far as do you have a recommended amount of posts, emails, cold strategy? Like, do you have a formula that you felt has worked over time?
So I mean, the formula is like a kind of a tough question because it really depends on your audience. It depends on the niche that you're reaching out to. It depends on your list. If you have a list of people that are warm leads or cold leads or whatever it is that you're starting with is always going to kind of frame out the answer to that question, right? But I would say you should have a representation on social media at least once per week. I would say posting once per week is bare minimum what you should be doing so that when people are coming to fact check you on wherever they want to find you, make sure you're available on all those platforms too. So wherever people are looking to find you, there you are. Make sure you have for all of these things as well, and make sure that you're representing yourself, but also representing your company as a whole. So I would say at least once per week on social media. If you can do more than that, that's great. I think also email, I would suggest, again, depending on that list, if it's a cold list, I wouldn't go more than once every other week, trying to avoid that dreaded opt-out where they're not going to get to see any of your messages any further.
I was told that the role at some point, I picked this up along the way, because again, I don't know that much about the marketing side, so I had to become a student.
I mean, you're changing every day, so
yes,
I'm sure you're doing your best to keep up.
You've got to just like almost bombard. This is the opposite strategy, what you just said. Bombard them until they either make a decision, they either buy or they opt out. And once they opt out, good, to get rid of them and then move on. So what are your thoughts on that? Is it because I get some, when you hit that click list, sometimes you on a daily basis and just get boom, 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 and then eventually I've had enough, and you opt out, right?
Yes.
But then I'm probably not the client. So
yeah, I mean, it's a fine line that we're walking with that, honestly, because I've seen, I mean, specifically, we're talking about email now, but I've seen specifically on that LinkedIn outreach where people haven't responded to a message, and after like the 8th message is when they're like, sure, I'd love to have a meeting. So it really does take a few touches. And I've heard the same about people in our training community as well, that they were like, I was getting those emails for 2 years and you finally wore me down, and here I am, and, I'm ready to be a part of it and commit and, do my best. So it is a fine line that you walk. And unfortunately, there's no like best answer to that question. It really does kind of depend on the audience. But persistency definitely is key. I don't necessarily think that it has to be you're dripping on someone every single day, encouraging them almost to opt out, but certainly continuing to follow up with people until you get that message where they don't want to hear any more from you is going to be the best and the only way to continue on.
Yeah. What do you think? Okay, we talked about LinkedIn is great. Do you think advisors need to have their own, I don't know, podcast, create videos, do like their own content, or is it okay for them to repurpose others? I know the Elite Marketing Platform has a ton of experts on there, and then your platform enables people to automate emails and schedule and calendar out. And it's really fantastic for that. But like, I guess talk to how much I need to do organically as if I'm trying to market, or versus how much can I just kind of ride on the coattails of other people.
Totally. I think it's a healthy marriage. I think the more successful people in marketing are people who are paying attention to it, and people who are with anything. You get what you give. So I would say that as much as you can personalize your content, and as much as you can educate versus sell, as much as you can bring your personality to your posts and to your websites and to any of the content that you're putting out into the world, that's always going to give you a leg up on someone who's just using canned content or reposting other people's articles or something like that. Because really doing those videos, hosting a podcast, even going as a guest on someone's podcast is going to put you in that position of authority to someone who's looking at your content online. Even if you don't feel like you are the expert or the authority in that, from an outsider's perspective, if you're online and you have a video talking about whatever you're doing, you're going to seem like you know what you're doing online to them. And obviously we do know what we're doing around here. It's something that we're trying to just make sure that that point gets across. But I think that using that personal touch is going to help you to get that point across so much faster. And not to mention that video content is really, the engagement is double, maybe even triple what static content is, meaning a photo versus a video, or a graphic versus a video, or a podcast or an audio clip or something like that is going to get 50% more engagement than a static post will. So I would absolutely encourage those that are comfortable to, record yourself in your own house, making a webinar, hosting a webinar, so that you don't even have to have anyone in the audience. You can talk through your strategy, you can talk through your PowerPoint, you can mess up, you can stop, you can start, And then you can kind of splice all that stuff together and use it and repurpose it so that you're still getting that personalized touch, having to host an event live or invite a bunch of people to a dinner seminar or something like that. The value of video and social media and the internet in general is just incredible, and it's only going to increase.
Yeah, agreed. So what are some misconceptions or challenges that RIAs, registered investment advisors, or CPAs specifically have on the marketing side? What are some things that you've seen over the years where you're just like, oh, why was that person doing that?
Yeah, I have seen, I would say the number one thing is just counting out marketing altogether, not engaging with their audience online via email, having a website even. A lot of people still don't see the value in that, which is kind of crazy. So I would say that's probably like my number one thing that most people are making a mistake on, is just not thinking about the reach that they can get for free most of the time by just taking a minute to dive in and post some stuff on their social feeds or send out an email or something similar to that.
Any other strategies or things that they should be like? What's super important? Is it video quality? Is it candor? Is it their personality? Is it the audio? Like what? Yeah. All of it. I know all of it. But
sure. Yeah. In a perfect world, all of it. Yeah.
Everything's all of it. Yeah. But if you had to pick a couple of things, just like make sure this is right.
I would say make sure the content is right for your audience would be my number one thing. You could be shooting a video in the dark on your iPhone 5, and if the content is right, people are going to resonate with that. And if you're saying what they need to hear or they want to hear in that moment, that's what's always going to move the needle. So to put yourself in the shoes of your ideal client, your ideal partner, whoever it is that you're trying to reach with your marketing, try and put yourself in their shoes and think about what you would want to hear if you were them. And that the content and the education, and sure, the personality is great, and it is definitely going to move the needle a little bit farther than otherwise if you were not such a great personality. But I think that definitely the content would be number one, and making sure that you're educating again before you're pushing something, whether it be a partnership with you or a service that you know is going to save them money or anything like that. You always want to come from the perspective of education versus sales, because nobody wants to be sold.
Agreed. I've heard it described that you should try as best as you can to enter the conversation that's going on in your client's mind. If you have that if you know what that conversation is, step into that, then you've captured something. But yeah, I think you're right. Very few people want to be salesy at all. We want to be, I do believe this industry, we're trying to be more consultant-like.
I totally agree. Yes, absolutely. And that's where people see the value.
Yeah. I'll say a big shift, just from personal experience, a big shift was when I started in this field. You almost had to be salesy and almost desperate, right? You're just trying to get clients from any possible way. Mm-hmm. And then the day I fired my first client because we just didn't see eye to eye, mm-hmm. and you realize you're no longer needing that sale, you just want to be on their side and consulting, then that was a big shift, right? And I think the
absolutely, yeah, and it's a mindset thing too, because as financial professionals, everyone's so wired for more. You got to get a new license. You have to have more clients. You have to make sure that you know everything about the tax code. It's just not true. That who, not how, is what's going to help you to succeed in your business by not being every single person on your own team and delegating a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I know I've had to work on that one myself.
Yeah, it's not easy.
My job is to get myself out of my job.
Whatever, yeah, we'd love to duplicate ourselves and just
get out of that. So there's, for a good last year and a half, obviously, regenerative AI and technology has been driving the markets, and it feels to me like marketing is one of the big areas of target because of all the ability, just like ChatGPT can write all these copy and mm-hmm. all that. Like, what are the trends and how has that affected your world?
I'll tell you what, it's been more helpful than hurtful. That's for sure. AI is, I mean, ChatGPT surface, like what AI can do in the world of marketing going forward is going to help our industry and I mean, multiple others as well. So much because it's going to help what, in my experience, AI has done for me and my job is helped me to kind of get over that writer's block or that creative block that you might have a lot of the times where you're kind of like, where would I even start with something like that? And that's something that you can literally ask ChatGPT. Where would I start if I wanted to create a marketing plan for myself for the next 12 months as a financial advisor? These are my ideal clients. Ask me 20 questions about my business so that you can understand what my purpose is and what I'm trying to accomplish, our mission as a company, and then take those answers and help me to create a marketing strategy. ChatGPT will do that for you.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah. And then even to go farther beyond that, AI video services that you can record a video of yourself talking for 10 or 15 minutes, and then they will take your likeness and your voice, and you can type in a script and have them create a whole video for you of you talking that you didn't actually talk. You didn't actually speak any of the words that are coming out of your mouth in this video, which is a little bit scary, but also super cool and helpful, especially for those of us who are a little bit shy and we don't necessarily want to record ourselves on a video, or we're not the best on camera or anything like that.
For sure, it's definitely scary. Like, I know, not to give any of our audience an idea or make them scared at all, but right now, if a client wants to send a wire out, there's a level of security where they basically say, did you specifically speak to the client on the phone? And if I say yes, then usually the wire is approved, especially if it's going the same name person. But now with all this I want to say 3 seconds, 5 seconds sampling of your voice, and then they can kind of duplicate your voice. And so at some point, and I know I've heard about these scams in the already, where they've duplicated somebody's voice and said, hey, like somebody close to you, Lindsay, I'm in trouble. I'm at the police
station. I'm in a jam. Can you send me a Venmo? Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, it's Friday at 4:55, and you're like, my bank's going to close. I got to do this. I don't have a chance to. It's going to be a scary world. I feel like you almost have to go backwards, and you're going to have a code name. Like, I need.
It's funny. They're even like
code word.
Exactly. They're already even teaching you how to avoid AI generated content on Google. Yeah. Like, show me results from 2020, not from 2023, and get, those real results versus the results that are created by AI for you. Yeah. Now, like, building even upon what you said in a less scary way, where it's used to there are AI assistants that can answer the phone for you, and they can answer questions that the client on the other end of the line is asking. I saw a demo the other day that someone was like a lawyer's office or something, which, again, something that's super important to figure out the details and ask the right questions and make sure that you get the root of the truth. And they were going back and forth on the line. I was watching it live while he was asking these questions, and the AI bot was, I understand, that's very frustrating. Can you tell me more about what happened when you rear-ended someone? Or can you tell me more about what happened when someone ran the red light, or anything like that? And the client on the other end is talking just like you and I are right now. And AI is picking it all up, listening to what they say, and responding to their questions. So
it's
hopefully it could be helpful for us in the future to maybe, eliminate some time that we have to spend.
Yeah, for sure. And I know it was definitely scary when it came out. It's the analogy that I heard, especially in our firm, like in our world, was like when spreadsheets came out, the idea was there would be no need for a CPA at that point, because you could then just put all your tax stuff into a spreadsheet and you're done. But right. Now, obviously, we need CPAs more than ever. I just heard a CPA say, hey, I'm trying to hire some high-level CPA. I think it's going to be easier to find a unicorn than to find a CPA, a CPA is useful. So they certainly haven't been displaced by spreadsheets, and nor do I think AI is going to displace the human being in the equation.
Right.
On the finance side, I'm not on the marketing either, but on the finance side, I always said that people just want to have somebody else to talk to about right or wrong. Like,
Yep.
I might have an opinion about what's going on. I could be dead wrong, but still the person wants to have a conversation about it.
Exactly.
And that's just something AI can't fully do yet.
Very true. They're getting there, but you're very right about that. And what's the piece of AI I feel like that people forget a lot of times, that are so nervous that, it's going to wipe out all of these jobs and things. I mean, in my opinion, it's an enhancement for us to use to help us do our jobs better. But there's always going to be that level of, okay, a computer wrote this, or I can tell that this is not, something that organically came to someone. And especially in like the creative world, it's a little bit harder for a computer or something like that to kind of get creative and on a personal level. So you're always going to want to double check any work that you do on any AI software, whether it be ChatGPT, Apollo AI, whatever you're using.
So for an RA or a CPA or anybody that's just starting out, like, hey, I want to start my own firm again, I got approved, let's go. What do you think? Like, where would they start on the marketing side? Obviously they're going to reach out to friends and family directly, but if they wanted to just stick their toe in the water and get moving on the marketing side, where would you tell them to start first?
I would say the least scary place to do that is social media. And I would say the next most important thing for you to have is going to be a good website that really represents your mission and your purpose as a company. Something that is going to kind of tell your elevator pitch in the first 60 seconds of people getting onto that site or onto that social media page or wherever it might be that they're looking for you. People, they're busy. We're looking for tops 60 seconds average on any given website, whether it be someone that they're doing research on or somebody that they know from high school, searching through their Facebook profile. I would say get online, get yourself someone that can help you create a couple of different campaigns that are campaigns, meaning some emails, some social media posts that really represent your value, your mission statement, and get across the point of what it exactly is that you're here to do, your unique value proposition, and start repurposing that stuff. So that would be my initial first step. Get online, 100%.
Yeah. I had a good buddy of mine who wrote a book called What's Your Story? And his premise was, and I believe this to be true, financial advisors, CPAs, were very numbers oriented. We're like, here are the facts, here's the returns, here's the data, here's what I'm going to sell you on because that's what you care about. But nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. People buy things based off of emotion and rationalize it based off of the intellect side. So tell me about the role of storytelling within your marketing strategies.
Yeah, storytelling is so important. If that's another thing that AI cannot do for you, it will give you kind of that jumping off point, though, to kind of get started and go off in the right direction to find that emotional connection that you're looking for with your prospective clients or prospective partners. I think it's so important to find something that you can relate on. And that's always what's going to make the difference. There could be, 10 financial advisors in the room, and I'm going to pick the one that also went to Rutgers, or that also, I'm going to pick somebody that I have an emotional connection with. And a lot of times it really is just that feeling that you get. And that's why it's also so important to utilize that video and put some personality into your marketing so that you can differentiate yourself.
Yeah. I've been caught in this trap a couple of times. Is when do you cut bait on the market? Like, how do you figure out how much time do you have to give it? Like, this just isn't working. And when do I move on to shift strategies?
It's hard. It's such a hard question because it varies from person to person as far as the client on the other end of the receiving end of the marketing. Everyone's different in their approach that they're putting out into the world, and every client is different in what they're looking to see online or wherever they're seeing you. Remind me I feel like I got off on a tangent. Remind me what the
Well, I was just saying, when do we cut bait on the?
So when do we stop? Yeah, I know it's so hard to
Like
stop
I put a bunch
because
of money into Facebook ads and Google ads, and it's not quite working after 3 months. But
yeah,
do I
you
need
have,
six? Do I need, like, what do I need? Do I start off $100 a day? Like, I know everything's different,
it
but
is, yeah,
do you
totally.
have any guidelines?
Yeah, I would say make sure that you can measure what you're managing. So if you are putting money into Facebook advertising and you're putting money into LinkedIn advertising, you need to compare what's going on each of those platforms based on the niche that you're looking to reach out to, your prospective clients, your prospective partners, and see what's moving the needle more for you. Where are you getting more engagement? Where are you having more people reach out and direct message you? Where are you seeing the numbers increase versus decrease on which platform? And focus your efforts onto those one or two places. So for us, for example, we were spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on Facebook marketing, and we recently pulled back on that and are into LinkedIn and YouTube marketing because that's where we saw our numbers growing for our training company, not
Nice.
necessarily for everyone out there. It's going to be the same. And also certainly depending on that client list and who you're looking for, that's key, I think, to do that research and see where those ideal clients spend a lot of their time and, kind of utilize those analytics and use those to help you make a decision about when you're going to call it quits on a certain platform. I would say a timeline. Give it 6 months, I would say, and really see what kind of a difference you can make, because anything less than that is going to be a shorter, not as long enough of a trial period as you would really need to see what kind of results you can actually get. Because as we mentioned earlier, some people take 3 touches, some people take 10 before they're ready to jump in and make. So it's tough to decide when to kind of pull out there on a marketing strategy. But I think that, a lot of times you'll feel when it's right. Like you'll be able to feel when, like, Facebook's just draining my wallet and I'm not getting any responses from anybody on anything. Move on to the next thing, or fully stop for a while, switch up the strategy. Maybe you change what you're posting. Maybe you use different language. Maybe you look for a different niche of clients to reach out to. Yeah, 6 months, I would say, is probably the minimum where I would say give it a fair shot.
Okay. Well, before we totally wrap up, let's end on a high note. Like, can you share some success stories you had with marketing with REAs where, I don't know, maybe they're lost and you helped them a lot and you just had this amazing result, or like, just give us some good examples of, hope out there for.
For sure. So I'm in a unique position where a whole bunch of advisors at my doorstep every day, waiting for me to kind of guide them in the right direction and help them from scratch most of the time. So that's where I've seen a lot of the success stories, obviously within the company that I work for, but utilizing, helping people to use the tools that they have and that they don't know how to use is so rewarding for me to kind of give people the tools to make their own success, as well as, me being there to help them with that as well. Success stories are hard with marketing, right? Like people are certainly reaching out to, most of what I do is helping people reach out to find a CPA partner or to help find some new business owner client or something like that. So, I've certainly helped maybe a dozen of the advisors in our community find that CPA partner for themselves and locate that partner, role playing with them, make sure that they're understanding the concepts of what they're trying to bring to their clients when they approach them together. The success stories are kind of all different and up and down in the marketing arena. But I certainly would call that a success. Matching anyone with someone who's going to be a great proactive partner and through something as simple as reaching out on LinkedIn is just like such a good feeling to end on.
Yeah. Anytime you get that sale, that win, or that close, or that relationship built and it moves on, it's going to be good. It's always a nice feeling.
100%.
Lindsay, how can people get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me by, My services are available to anyone that is in our training program. So we are, again, the elite resource team, and we've got 3 membership levels. You can join us at our entry level, which is actually, I guess, technically 4. You can join us at our entry level with financial collaborators. You can bump yourself up to one of our 3 main training levels, which is Catalyst, Accelerator, or Fusion. We operate mostly on a community in the school platform. If you guys aren't familiar, a very cool platform that is really kind of changing the way that people communicate with each other in these training situations and classroom situations. You can find me on there, certainly. You can find me at any of our weekly calls that we host as the elite resource team. I personally host a call each Wednesday that walks through how to use our marketing platform and just a general kind of marketing chat that I host each week, which I can give you that information so you can kind of share it in a link form. But yeah, you guys can find me there every week.
Sounds great. Well, Lindsay, it's been awesome having you on the show and talking about how we can, really get the word out there, because that's really, again, the most important part.
It's a bigger
business and having it grow, because we have a duty to give good service to our clients, but we also have a duty to not go out of business to our clients, and so it's equally as important. So,
agreed.
Absolutely. So I've been your host, Stuart Cruz, on the show. I can be reached at cruzassetmanagement.com or Stuart@cruzassetmanagement.com, and Cruz is Kruse. We have a LinkedIn profile at Cruz AM and a YouTube channel at Cruz AM as well. You've been watching Money Talk Viewpoint, a financial education podcast for high net worth family offices and business owners. And if you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, please reach out to moneytalkviewpoint.org. My name is Stuart Cruz. It's been a pleasure to have you on our show. And thanks for watching, and be better every day.